Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavad-gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Chapter 11, text 37. Kasmachchatena nameran mahatman gariyase brahmanopyadikatre ananta devesha jagannivasatvam aksharam sadasatat parang yat. Arjuna is addressing Krishna. O Great One, greater even than Brahma, you are the original creator. Why then should they not offer their respectful obeisances unto you? O Limitless One, God of gods, refuge of the universe, you are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to the material manifestation. Purport: by this offering of obeisances, Arjuna indicates that Krishna is worshipable by everyone. He is all-pervading, and He is the soul of every soul. Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Mahatma, which means that He is most magnanimous and unlimited. Ananta indicates that there is nothing which is not covered by the influence and energy of the Supreme Lord, and Devesha means that He is the controller of all demigods and is above them all. He is the shelter of the whole universe. Arjuna also thought that it was fitting that all the perfect living entities and powerful demigods offer their respectful obeisances unto Him, because no one is greater than Him. Arjuna especially mentions that Krishna is greater than Brahma, because Brahma is created by Him. Brahma is born out of the lotus stem grown from the navel abdomen of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who is Krishna's plenary expansion. Therefore Brahma and Lord Shiva, who is born of Brahma, and all other demigods must offer their respectful obeisances. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam that the Lord is respected by Lord Shiva and Brahma and similar other demigods. The word Aksharam is very significant because this material creation is subject to destruction, but the Lord is above this material creation. He is the cause of all causes, and being so, He is superior to all the conditioned souls within this material nature, as well as the material cosmic manifestation itself. He is therefore the all-great Supreme. I open the Bhagavad-gita to this verse relevant to the subject that I have to speak of. Arjuna is describing the glories of Krishna. Bhagavad-gita is spoken by Bhagavan. That is the meaning of Bhagavad-gita. In Bhagavad-gita it is established by Krishna Himself that He is supreme. Matah parataram nanyat kinchid asti dhananjay. No one is greater than Krishna, no one is equal to Krishna. He is supreme. Arjuna is stating the same thing, that even the great demigods, Brahma, the creator of this world, he also offers obeisances to Krishna. So, this point should be understood. I'm saying I had to speak on this because the title that was given for this lecture was, what is it? Real God and Bogus God? Something like that. Bogus Bhagavan. There are so many bogus Bhagavans. There's no such thing as bogus Bhagavan. Bhagavan means not bogus. Everything else but Bhagavan is bogus. We're all bogus because we're bhogi. Ishvaraham aham bhogi. In Bhagavad-gita, Lord Krishna describes that the demoniac mentality is to think, I am the supreme controller, I am the enjoyer. Whereas actually the only person who can truly say this is Krishna, because he is actually the Supreme Lord. He is actually the enjoyer of everything. But symptomatic of Kali Yuga is that there are many persons who are mistaken to be Bhagavan, even though they don't actually know what the word Bhagavan means, but there's some display of some mystic power, or even nothing, just like there's some woman from Kerala claiming herself to be Durga or something, and just she claims herself to be, and she hugs people, and people think that she's Durga. People are so stupid. It's just unbelievable how stupid people can be. Stupidity is one thing, but then to claim someone as Bhagavan who is not Bhagavan becomes offensive to the actual Bhagavan. That's why I removed this picture, because there's a popular so-called Bhagavan. There in the picture is there with Prabhupada. Prabhupada he'll never sit with this Sai Baba. Prabhupada came to kick all this nonsense out. Stupidity is one thing, but then to claim someone as Bhagavan who is not Bhagavan becomes offensive to the actual Bhagavan. That's why I removed this picture, because there's a popular so-called Bhagavan. There in the picture is there with Prabhupada. Prabhupada he'll never sit with this Sai Baba. Prabhupada came to kick all this nonsense out. That people think they accept. Someone says this one is Bhagavan, someone else says that is Bhagavan, but Bhagavan means Krishna. And there are so many imitations. So this is why Prabhupada gave Bhagavad-gita as it is, because people have misinterpreted the Shastra, have taken the words Bhagavan, Bhakti, and misused it, misapplied it to the wrong people. And as a result of their so-called Bhakti, they think they don't get any auspicious result, they get a very inauspicious result. If we worship as Bhagavan someone who isn't Bhagavan, then instead of getting in the name of Bhakti, we get Mahapap. There are various sins, but it's grossly sinful to accept as supreme and to worship someone who is not Bhagavan. So it is most offensive. It is a result of Mayavad, or the idea that ultimately everything is all one and you can worship anything that you like as a manifestation of God, because God has ultimately no form, which is all grossly offensive to Krishna. So our host may think that I'm being rude by saying these things or removing the picture, but actually you're being rude to Krishna. So you're in a dangerous position. You may think, well, so many people do it. Yeah, so many people are offensive to Krishna. It's a great disease of the modern age. Actually, everyone in this material world is offensive to Krishna. We're all offensive to Krishna to various degrees, that we're not Krishna conscious, but some things are particularly gross. This accepting as the object of worship someone who's not Krishna, not a devotee of Krishna, someone who's worshipped as Bhagavan. Even though you may say, well, many people are doing it. Recently, we went from Hyderabad to Bida in Karnataka. So he went on some train to daily train, Secunderabad to Myanmar. So what's this Myanmar? What's this place? Why is there a daily train and it's full? And they told me this is for, Myanmar is the rail stoppage for Shirdi. That's where so many people. So you may say, well, so many people are going, they can't all be wrong. Well, they can be. Everyone in the material world is wrong in not surrendering to Krishna. So there may be something there. There must be some kind of mystic power or something there. People get their desires fulfilled. But that again is a misunderstanding, that religion is meant for getting our material desires fulfilled. So therefore, we should study Bhagavad-gita as it is, what Krishna says. Why don't we accept what is stated in Bhagavad-gita? If we are actually sincere to understand who is God, to come to the perfection of life, simply to be a pious Hindu, so-called, that is not the perfection of life. You may say, well, I'm a vegetarian, but that's not enough. One has to understand who is Krishna. When Krishna says, Sarvadhaman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja, abandon all varieties of religion and surrender to me only. Who is Krishna to say this, and why is doing so imperative to all of us? If we do this, then we can actually have an auspicious result. If we do anything else, there may be various grades of auspiciousness. If one is in karma kanda, it's not actually auspicious, but it's better than being grossly sinful. Karma kanda means the Vedic path of sacrifice, offering the fruits of one's work in sacrifice. There's no karma kanda in the proper way in the modern age. There are so-called karma kanda priests who perform different rituals, but there's no karma kanda in its original form. So even that karma kanda is centered on the demigods, worship of demigods, and ultimately worship of Krishna. But worship of demigods is condemned in Bhagavad-gita. Kamaistai hrityagyana prapadyante devataha. Those whose intelligence is spoiled by material desires, they surrender to demigods. So the demigods, they're Vedic deities, but nowadays there are so many invented so-called gods. Someone has a little mystic power, or they can talk in a charming manner, and people think, oh, Bhagavan. There are so many Bhagavans. Bhagavan competition. This Bhagavan, that Bhagavan. So many bogus Bhagavans. Who is actually Bhagavan? Bhagavan means supreme. Mataf parataram nanyat kinchid asti dhananjaya. Supreme means Krishna. That is clear from Bhagavad-gita. That is clear from Shastra. If we actually want to understand the perfection of life, we should study these books. We cannot understand the perfection of life simply by watching Mahabharata on TV and reading some Amar Chitra Katha. That won't give us the perfection of life. One has to be serious. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada has given these books, each verse, extensive commentary, explaining what is the actual point. Just like here, Srila Prabhupada explaining, by this offering of obeisances, Arjuna indicates that Krishna is worshipable by everyone. Very clear, straightforward, not this all shadows, mixed up, messed up. All these bogus people, they say that, well, you just worship any god you like. Many years ago in Visakhapatnam, I gave a lecture in some public temple. And afterwards some young girl came up and said, why are you saying that? Why are you saying only Krishna? He said, everyone says to worship all the gods. I said, who says? He said, all the Swamis who come here except you. They all say worship all the ways are all the same. Why are you saying only Krishna? So practically what's going on in the name of Hinduism and any other Hinduism is just simply cheating, because they're not presenting what Krishna says. Krishna doesn't say you just worship any god and it's all the same. Krishna says, Sarvadhaman parityaja mam ekam sharanam raja. If we actually want to follow Bhagavad-gita, then we should accept this. Of course, Lord Krishna also says, Yepi anya devata bhakta yajante shradhayanvitaha tepi mam eva konteya yajantya vidhi purvakam. People often like to quote the first 3 lines of this verse, in which Krishna says, those who are devoted to other gods and worship them with faith, that worship is actually meant for me. So they interpret, you see, it's all the same. But then the last line, Yajantya vidhi purvakam. But they worship in the wrong way. In other words, that worship that they're doing for the demigods should have been offered to Krishna. But instead they're worshipping the demigods. And why kama istai hritagyana? Because they have so many material desires. But material desires are always inauspicious. We think it is auspicious, we will get blessed by some demigod. What is that blessing? Dhanam dehi, give us money. That's the first thing. There are so many demands. But what is the value? Only foolish people desire material results. You can get material results from worshipping the demigods. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad-gita, Kankshanta karmanam siddhim yajante hadevataha kshipram hi manashara loke siddhya bhavati karmata. That persons who desire success in material activities, they worship demigods, and quickly they are rewarded. They get that result. But then, what is the point? Because antavattu palang tesham tad bhavatyalpaledasam. Whatever you get from the demigod, you get some money by the grace of some worship, some demigod. What is it? You lose it. However much you get, you lose it all, because you can't take $1, 1 cent, 1 naya paisa with you when we leave this world. So what is the use of worshipping for some temporary result? So even demigod worship is condemned by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad-gita. So what to speak of these imitation, bogus Bhagawans, of whom there's so many. Every area of India has at least 1 or 2 bogus Bhagawans. Marathi Bhagawan, Kannada Bhagawan, Tamil Bhagawan, who fled from the Tamil police and is hiding out in Andhra Pradesh. So many Bhagawans. So many, you don't even see, probably most of you don't even know. There are so many local Bhagawans, village Bhagawans. What is the meaning? It's causing great disturbance because people have a tendency to have faith. They take that tendency, and instead of giving them genuine knowledge of tattva gyan, we were discussing yesterday, what is tattva? What is actualness? Instead of giving them actual knowledge, they maybe quote few things from the Upanishads, sing a few bhajans, have a few pujas, mix it all up, and make themselves the object of worship. And in this way cheat people. And this way they're doing great damage. And then the Christians and the Muslims are saying, what is this? You're worshipping some man. And people have no knowledge. They don't teach them Bhagavad-gita as it is. So we're against this. We're strongly against this. If you want actual auspiciousness in your life, you must understand who is, first of all we should understand who is Bhagavan. What is the meaning of this term? What is the meaning of this term? Who can say? What is the definition of Bhagavan? Who can say? Can you say the Sanskrit verse? Say it loudly and clearly so we can all hear. You got the 6 qualities. Yeah, Jnana Vairagya Yoshchaiva Shannang Bhaga Itingana. Bhagavan means who possesses in full all wealth, all power, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge and all renunciation. Unless one has got all these qualities, he cannot be considered the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these cheap so-called Bhagavans, they may have a little mystic power. They may have some charisma. But they are not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So to worship them as such, you may think, well, you worship Krishna or you worship Sai Baba, it's all the same, but it's not, because Krishna is actually Bhagavan. And Sai Baba is some kind of fakir or something like that. This Shirdi Sai Baba. There are so many points to be considered. Actual Bhagavan is mentioned in Shastra. Shastra is that which gives us knowledge of who is Bhagavan. There's no mention in Shastra of all these bogus Bhagavans. But people, they're cheap, they're shallow, they're not sincere. They want something cheap. Otherwise, they want a Coca-Cola Bhagavan. I mean, Coca-Cola means there's nothing of value there. But people drink it anyway, because they're stupid. They think they can get something out of it. There's nothing of any value. So like that, these so-called Bhagavans, they're like, Coca-Cola, why do people buy? Because they show the advertisement, all the young people happy drinking Coca-Cola. Anyone who's got an intelligence above -3 can... Otherwise, they want a Coca-Cola Bhagavan. I mean, Coca-Cola means there's nothing of value there. But people drink it anyway, because they're stupid. They think they can get something out of it. There's nothing of any value. So like that, these so-called Bhagavans, they're like, Coca-Cola, why do people buy? Because they show the advertisement, all the young people happy drinking Coca-Cola. Anyone who's got an intelligence above -3 should be able to understand that this is all nonsense. You get the Coca-Cola, you drink it, and where's all the young people dancing and laughing? It's just some imagination. But still they're advertising year after year after year the same thing. People are stupid. It's the proof of mass stupidity that Coca-Cola is popular. Otherwise, why should people buy it? There's no reason to buy it. Neither it's good for health, nor it even tastes good, as far as I remember from 35 years ago or so. But it's just some idea that you get some kind of happiness from drinking it, although there's no happiness in it. So people are stupid. They don't think. They just Coca-Cola, go. They just drink it. That's all. So people are stupid. They don't want to go very deep. They don't consider that the verse we were discussing, Etavad eva jignasam. Tadvam jigyasunatmanaha. One should be serious to inquire about what is the actual phenomena of the absolute truth. But people, they don't want to think. They're lazy. Again, the people, They're watching TV, their brain becomes dull. And they don't want to go very deeply, just, Bhagavan, okay. So many people are saying Bhagavan, okay. They don't want to go very deep. They don't consider what is the nature of God, who are we, what is our relationship with God? How can we understand Him? Why should we accept Him as God and there's another competitor, modern Sai Baba, down in a few miles south? Or in Calcutta they have another bearded Bhagavan, voted as an avatar. Voted, you see? Was Sai Baba voted? He was voted as an avatar. This Gadadhar Chattopadhyay became voted as avatar Ramakrishna by a bunch of fools and rascals. So there's something, like I was saying, there was this so-called Kalki Bhagavan, someone, LIC officer, somewhere in Tamil Nadu, suddenly decided, I'm Kalki avatar. Then he was chased out of Tamil Nadu for so many scandals. And he's in Andhra, and the police went to arrest him, but all his supporters, they won't, out of some respect, stupid, foolish respect, they don't go and respect him and arrest him. They don't want to create a scene with all the... You see, even this Vajpayee, when he was the Prime Minister of India, he went to visit this Sai Baba. What a fool. I mean, what can we say? Materially intelligent, maybe, but spiritually fool number one. Anyone who offers any respect to this Sai Baba, it means their intelligence is completely spoiled. Why should you offer respect to someone who's claiming to be Bhagavan? He's such a cheater. You all know, those from you, what is that? Shivenkata Chalapate Tavasu Prabhatam. Now they changed this, they put Sai Baba, Venkata Chalapate they took out and put Sai Baba instead. Is that not sinful? This Suprabhatam for Balaji that people are chanting so many generations, they took out his name and put Sai Baba instead. Otherwise all the song the same. Is this not sinful? Can you understand? The Prime Minister should have him arrested and shot for being such a sinful person and misleading others. Then we could understand there's good government in India. I don't know if they would tolerate that in America, that someone is claiming as Bhagavan. In India, Jane do, everything goes on. Mayavad. So you please try to understand, this is not dogmatism or fanaticism, it's simple. First thing is that very uncommon thing called common sense. It's common sense matter that you just can't convert someone into Bhagavan just because people say so. Bhagavan means who is the controller and master of unlimited universes. Who is described in Shastra. So that common sense should be there. But common sense is very uncommon. Then we should consider what is stated, why, if this Sai Baba is Bhagavan, why there's no mention in Shastra? Here we have Bhagavad-gita clearly establishing, here Arjuna is referring to Krishna as Mahatma. Then Adikata, Mahatma, great person. Then Adikata, the supreme creator. Ananta, unlimited. Devesha, God of gods. Jagannivasa, refuge of the universe. Aksharam, imperishable. Sadasat Tat Param, transcendental to both cause and effect. This is Bhagavan. Does that apply to Sai Baba? People don't even think about such things. Sadasat Yat Param, who is transcendental to cause and effect. People have no idea of this. They're just so shallow. Their intelligence goes as far as watching cartoons on TV and eating some potato chips. And then they, at that level, their understanding of Bhagavan is that. So we should protest about this. This is actually more important than sitting around and discussing. People like to talk about Gopi Leelas, so many things. We have more important work to disabuse people of these terrible misconceptions by which they think that they are being pious, but actually they are being most offensive to Krishna. But this is our important work. We should distribute these books, give proper knowledge to people, be very clear, and not think, well, it's all the same and you can do whatever you like. And we should be very clear. Even demigod worship is condemned in Bhagavad-gita. What to speak of this bogus Bhagavan worship? So we should understand these points. This is important. If we get it right, if we understand properly who is Krishna, we go to Krishna. If we don't understand, we don't go to Krishna. And if we take someone else to be Bhagavan who is not Bhagavan, then we go just in the opposite direction. In the name of doing puja and arati and being a pious Hindu, we simply become more and more materialistic and enter into the darkest regions of ignorance. So please kindly consider, don't spoil your life. Now you have contact with Prabhupada's books, which clearly delineate the same Vedic message that has been given by all acharyas since time immemorial, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is He who is to be surrendered to. So please consider this. Don't maintain you're unfortunate that you had some attachment to some bogus personality, but now you have the fortune to come in contact with Srila Prabhupada's books. So please read them, understand them, and act according to them, and make your life that has been given by all acharyas since time immemorial, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is He who is to be surrendered to. So please consider this. Don't maintain you're unfortunate that you had some attachment to some bogus personality, but now you have the fortune to come in contact with Srila Prabhupada's books. So please read them, understand them, and act according to them, and make your life fully auspicious. This Bhagavad-gita as it is in your home now. Please read it. Don't just keep it in your home. We have to read this and understand how Krishna, He is Mahatma, He is Adikarta, He is Ananta, Devesha, Jagan Nivasa, Aksharam, Sarasat Tat Param. We should understand this. Try to understand. Krishna has given us intelligence. That intelligence, if it is not utilized for understanding Him, that intelligence will be misused for entangling us more and more and more in this material world. So kindly consider these points. Hare Krishna. Any question about this? Yeah.
Maharaj, why do we have the idols of Ram in the temples then?
Why do we have idols of Ram in temple? Well, idol is a misnomer. The British use this term idol for the Sri Vigraha. Deity is the right word. Idolization means to worship as God something or someone who is not God. But the Sri Vigraha, that means the form of the Lord, who is Krishna, who consents to accept that form so that we can worship Him. Ram is non-different from Krishna. He is also Vishnu Murti. He should be worshipped. We have here also Ramayan. We're encouraging people should know who is Ram. They should worship Lord Ram. as Gauriya Vaishnavas, our particular form of our mode of worship, there are many Vishnu forms. Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, Kurma. You'll find deities of all these forms of the Lord. Particularly among the forms, the Vishnu forms, Krishna is most popular. Krishna, then Narayana, Rama. There are also temples of Varaha, Narasimha, Kurma. Narasimha also many temples. Kurma, not many. Varaha, not many. But these are all worshipable Vishnu forms. And there are also temples of demigods who are worshipped by people who are on the Vedic path but haven't come to the realization of Krishna as supreme. So, these we don't say idol. These are forms of the Lord or demigods that are fashioned and worshipped according to Shastric description. So as Gauriya Vaishnavas, our particular attention is toward Krishna and particularly Radha Krishna. Gauriya Vaishnavas also worship Ram secondarily, generally secondarily. But he's not different from Krishna, but he's the same Supreme Lord in another aspect. This is actually advanced subject of understanding. How Ram is another aspect of Krishna. The thing is that in Indian culture or Hindu culture, whatever you want to call it, Vaishnav culture would be the best term, that all these things are going on, and previously there were so many gurus to explain all these points, so people knew what they're doing. The brahmanas in the temple, they're not supposed simply to do some puja and take your dakshina, but they're supposed to explain what's going on. And people also, previously people had the time and the inclination to hear and understand these things. Nowadays people don't have the time or inclination, and the priests, they also don't know. So actually to worship Krishna, traditionally it would require a high level of knowledge, of understanding of what we're doing. And that knowledge was imparted by those who are actual gyanis, those who know. But nowadays people just come, you'll find, summer season now as well, it's over now. But during the summer months, especially, there are so many buses of tourists going all over India, going to Dwaraka, Puri, Rameshwaram, Badrinath, and so many places, Udupi, so many holy places. And they come, they take darshan, and they go. They came in, they're pious, they came in ignorant of what they're doing or why they're doing, but still they have a pious inclination to do so. They don't know why, and they leave just as ignorant as they came. So our movement, we're also building temples, but these places are meant for spiritual education, so people can understand all these points and not be misled. There's rampant cheating going on in the name of Hinduism. Terrible. Not only Hinduism, every so-called religion. So cheating means that people can be cheated who are ignorant, isn't it? That's why there's a term in America, streetwise. Someone who is streetwise. People who grow up in New York or Los Angeles, they're streetwise. That means that no one can walk up onto them on the street and just fool them and take their money. Just like on the internet, you go on the internet, something pops up. You have what happened to me 2 days ago. You have won a free laptop, and you can't get rid of the pop-up. But you know it's some cheating thing, whatever it is. You don't even bother to look at it. It's just some cheating thing. But someone who's stupid They think, oh really, oh that's good, and they follow, and then they the next thing they know, they're $1,000, they lost their money and didn't get anything. I don't know exactly what they're doing, these so-called free laptops. So, those who are ignorant, they can be fooled. Ignorance, the antidote for ignorance is education. Therefore our movement, we build temples and people think building the temple is more important. But actually more important than having the temple is if we simply had halls and people would come and listen and study and learn. But people, they're not that much advanced. Most people come, they think the main thing is you come and look and you go away. But more important is they come and hear and don't go away. Or come regularly and hear. They think we had darshan. We saw it was very nice idol. But we think that the so-called idol is the object of our vision, but actually we are supposed to present ourselves to Him. That we are presenting ourselves, we have come before you to offer our service. So much education is required. That culture of spiritual education is lost. So our movement is meant for reviving this. Genuine spiritual education, not pandering to people's sentiments, but teaching people what they need to know. Mostly people want to be cheated. They think if someone cheats me, that's very nice. He tells, you're very nice, you're very good. I give them some dakshina, feed them a lot, and they feel happy, I feel happy, I get the blessings, ashirvad, and everything nice. But if you tell the truth, that you're in ignorance, you don't know what you're doing, then they think, oh, they're not very nice. So what should we do? Should we speak the truth and tell that this worship of Sai Baba is simply nonsense, that it's most inauspicious, the result of that is not bhakti, the result of that is going to hell? Should we tell you? Or should we say, oh, just ignore it and talk about prem and bhakti and bhav and pretend that everything's okay? Then I'd be cheating you. So, what's better? To tell the truth and you won't be happy? Actually you'll be, if you can accept it, then you'll be happy. Then you'll actually be happy. But remaining happy on the platform of ignorance, that's like the pig's happiness. The pig is rolling in the stool thinking, I'm happy. Then after some time they catch the pig and they kill it and they eat the pork. And then who eats the pork? The next life they become a pig. But the pig is thinking, I'm very happy. I don't have to work like all these human beings. They're working hard. I simply eat fresh stool every morning. Hot, fresh breakfast. There's nice drain full of stool water I can roll in. The pig thinks it's very nice. The pig is living in ignorance. So this, if we keep people in ignorance, then we are cheating also. So now, like I said, now you have Prabhupada's books. Now you should read and understand it. If you actually want auspiciousness for yourself and your family. Otherwise you're cheating yourself and your family. You're doing great disservice to your family by not directing them toward Krishna. Not giving them the real truth. That's the real duty of parents. People think the duty of parents is to feed and clothe their children and give them lots of meat to eat and send them to expensive schools and make them into doctors and engineers. But the end result of that is that they spoil their human birth. They don't know what the purpose of life is. They go to hell for their ignorance and their sinful activities, and you do too. for not having properly trained them. So the real purpose of parenthood is Guru na sasyat, Swajano na sasyat, Janani na sasyat, Pita na sasyat, Patischa sasyan, Daivang na tasyan, na patischa sasyat, na mochiyat, ya samapeta mrityum. That one shouldn't become a guru or a relative or a mother or a father or a husband or accept any homage from anyone unless he's able to deliver them from birth and death. It's a very great responsibility. Yeah, is there any other question? Please. Yeah.
Are not saints representative of Bhagavan?
Sorry?
The saints means Sant, who are supposed to be Anant. Sant, they are the representative of the God. And Krishna is our God. If any saints delivers any something for the people, is it not a good?
What's that? The saints? I couldn't catch the last.
Saints are representative of God, so when we offer them respects, is it not a good thing?
No, that is good. They should be, those who are actually representative of Krishna, they should be respected. But with the understanding that they are respected as the representative of Bhagavan, not as Bhagavan directly.
No, representative.
Yeah, as representative, then they should be respected. But they should be an actual representative. An actual representative of Bhagavan will always tell that Krishna is Bhagavan. I am his servant, you are his servant. But if one doesn't present, if one dresses in an orange cloth and accepts worship that I am Bhagavan, then that person is not a sant. He is simply a cheater. So we should know that definitely you're respecting me very kindly. But if I take that respect and fail to speak what Krishna, fail to deliver what Krishna has presented in Bhagavad-gita and all the acharyas have taught, then I'm falsely accepting that respect. There's one incident in the life of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Life means his life is always, Bhaktisiddhanta is always alive. But he was visiting Vrindavan, the greater Vrindavan area. And one Panda, he was making propaganda that we are superior to Raghunath Das Goswami. Because Raghunath Das is from a lower caste family. Raghunath Das Goswami, he is great acharya, who Radharani herself came to serve. He's such an exalted devotee. Now Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had shocked the Vrajvasis, or so-called Vrajvasis, residents of Vrindavan, by arriving in Vrindavan in a car. Now nowadays all the sants go in a car. But in those days, the car was very unusual. Only the big British officers and the Maharajas, they had cars in India. And Bhaktisiddhanta, the sants, they have to come walking barefoot into Vrindavan. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came in a big car, wearing leather shoes. So the people were shocked. He said, no, I'm teaching what is the actual way, what is required for preaching in the modern age. Not simply to sit in Vrindavan wearing some dirty cloth thinking you're very saintly, but we have to preach among all the people of the world. So to go to the leading persons of society, if we go with a dirty cloth, no one will listen. So for preaching the message of Krishna, we have to present ourselves in a way that they'll begin to listen to us. Therefore these facilities are required for preaching. This is proper service. to Rupa Goswami, to Raghunath Das Goswami, to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the proper way to serve Krishna at the present time. This was implied by his arriving in Vrindavan in that car. Now when he got news that this Panda was making such outrageous statement that we can offer blessing to Raghunath Das. When he heard this, he started fasting. And he's the guru, he's fasting, so all his camp, so many followers, disciples, they all started fasting. So this news was conveyed to this Panda, who was convinced to come to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and apologize for having made that mistake. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur treated him courteously, accepted the apology, then he broke fast. Then one of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's closest disciples said, "Why did you react so strongly? This foolish person, he's just a fool to say such a thing. Why did you just ignore that? Why didn't you just ignore that? Why make such a big issue of it?" This Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, "Because I'm acting as the Acharya. I've come here in a big car. I have taken this facility for the sake of establishing the message of Krishna. Now, having accepted the facility, if I fail to establish the message of Krishna, if I tolerate, having accepted all that, if I tolerate anything which is against, especially something which is so offensive to our Acharya, I've come taking the position of an Acharya, then how can I tolerate? I'm only coming in this car with these nice clothes because I'm taking the position of an Acharya. So if I fail to do the work of an Acharya, if I fail to uphold the dignity of our Acharyas, then my coming in a motor car will simply be cheating." So we have to be, sannyasis in Krishna consciousness have to be very careful. We're accepting funds, we're accepting respect, so many facilities, but that has to be all channeled toward Krishna, otherwise we become cheaters. Sanyasera alpa chidra sarva loke gai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. If there's a slight fault in a sannyasi, everyone will broadcast. Why? Because he's accepting so much respect, so much facility. Why should he accept that? Because he's doing the work of God. But if he takes all that facility and uses for his own comfort and sense gratification, then he's a cheater. So it's a relevant comment. All these things have to be understood very carefully. Sometimes it might appear that the sannyasis in the Krishna conscious movement are also enjoyers of this material world. They fly in planes, people give them nice food, they accept donations. Why should they do that? Only if their energy is 100% channeled towards serving Krishna and to upholding the message of Krishna. Anything else?
Maha, you mentioned parents should be who can. I'm not good at speaking in English. Please,
all right.
If I make any of this. And who want their kids to be doctors, engineers, work for the sense gratification. But in Krishna consciousness, one should think. It's dependent upon the kid. Whatever they want, when they utilize their time. Lay towards this Guru Maharaj or her Guru Maharaj and serve to Krishna, whatever they are getting the money, utilizing that to Krishna, serving Krishna.
The point is that namochi adhyasamapetam mrityum. One should be able to deliver his dependence from birth and death. One is not delivered from birth and death by being a doctor, an engineer, or anything else. One is delivered from birth and death by being a pure devotee of Krishna.
Yeah.
So a pure devotee of Krishna might also be a doctor or an engineer. But a doctor or engineer doesn't mean they're automatically a pure devotee of Krishna. So the aim should be to make them a pure devotee of Krishna. Train them in that way. And circumstantially they may become a doctor or an engineer or whatever. But if one thinks that one is doing the proper service for the child by training them to be a doctor or an engineer, and not train them to be a pure devotee of Krishna, even train them to be a doctor or an engineer, and train them to be also a devotee of Krishna, but the main thing is to be a material success, that's also cheating them. That's not the goal of life. Even if they're pious doctors and engineers, or even if they're doctors and engineers who also chant Hare Krishna, that's not the goal of life. If they're pure devotees who also happen to be doctors and engineers, that's all right. Although we don't find so many pure devotees anywhere. It's not such a cheap thing. But if we think, let them be a material success, and if they can, we'll also squeeze in a little bhakti here and there, then, according to Rishabdev, one should not become a parent if one has such an attitude. That's the version of Bhagavan in Srimad Bhagavatam. Heavy words. Well, life is heavy. Human life is heavy responsibility. Labdva sudurlabhamidang bahu sambhavante manushya martadam anityam apihadhira. Turnam yatejanapatedhanamritya yavan nishriyasaya vishaya khalu sarvatasyat. Having attained this rare human birth, after many, many births, we should understand what is the value of this human birth. Even though it's temporary, we won't be here very long. We should act in such a way that before our next death, we've had so many deaths, before our next death, we act in such a way that we don't have to get born again. And as far as sense gratification is concerned, that's available in every species of life. But human life is meant for God realization. Right, Karthik? Sitting there very patiently, listening very nicely. Looks tired. Hare Krishna. Anything else? So please consider what I said. Otherwise, so many times I say this kind of thing and people think, well, the Swami was in a bad mood tonight. And then they go away and then, the same thing goes on. So I hope what I can say can penetrate beyond the eardrum. Shunile na shune kan, janele na jane pran. As Narottam Das says. We hear, but it's only mechanical hearing. We know, yes, but we don't, janele na jane pran, we don't accept it in our lives. So anyway, it's up to you. I did my duty of telling that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have to surrender to Him. Worship directed to one who is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead, mistaking them to be Bhagavan, is most inauspicious. It is offensive to Krishna. So I did my duty, I said that. Now it's up to you. You can take it, if you're fortunate, you'll take it and study Bhagavad-gita as it is. If not, then it's up to you. You don't believe me? Well, you'll find out. But it'll be, when you find out, it'll be too late. If you don't accept now, you'll find out at a point when it's too late to do anything.